It started with a scream in the rain. An old woman, fighting for her life in a raging African river, and the only witness was a lion. What happened next would defy everything we thought we knew about wild animals. Because that lion didn't attack. He ran for help. Before we begin, like, comment, share, subscribe and turn on notification, so when we drop a new video, you will be the first person to see it. The rains had been pounding the valley all night, a relentless drumming that blurred the line between sky and earth. By morning, the river had swollen beyond its banks, its usual calm replaced by a furious roar that rolled through the savannah like a beast awakened. Mama Zawadi stepped carefully down the narrow path, her old hands gripping a worn calabash. The air was thick with the smell of wet earth and the distant cries of birds seeking higher ground. She had fetched water from this river since she was a girl. She knew its rhythm, its warnings, its secrets. But today, something was different. The river was restless. She paused on the edge, her eyes narrowing at the water's strange speed. Kidogo too, she murmured to herself, just a little. Her village needed water, the children would be thirsty. One step closer. Then another. The mud squelched under her bare feet. She dipped her calabash into the swirling brown surface. Then the earth gave way. In a heartbeat, the world turned upside down. The ground crumbled like ash, and she plunged into the torrent. Cold water slammed into her body, spinning her like a leaf. She gasped, choking, fighting for air that wouldn't come. Her calabash vanished. The river's roar swallowed her screams. Mungu wangu, she cried, her voice barely rising above the current. The current dragged her downstream, battering her against hidden rocks. She clawed at branches, weeds, anything that might hold her, but everything slipped away. Panic turned to terror. The water was stronger than memory, stronger than age, stronger than prayer. Through the chaos, her hand found something solid, the thick branch of a fallen acacia tree lodged between stones. She latched onto it with the strength of desperation. Her chest burned. Her arms trembled. The water tore at her skirt and slapped her face with muddy spray. She clung on, gasping, coughing, shivering, every breath a battle. Rain fell harder, merging with the river in a wild, furious storm. She looked toward the shore, too far, too steep. No one could hear her. The village was miles away. The water hissed and howled around her, rising inch by inch. And then, from the ridge above, a pair of golden eyes watched. A lion, large, scarred, regal, stood motionless against the rain. His mane, heavy with water, shimmered like bronze. He tilted his head, his gaze fixed on the struggling woman below. The wind carried her faint cries upward, thin and desperate. The lion blinked once, twice. Then, without warning, he turned and vanished into the storm. Mama Zawadi didn't see him go. She was too busy holding on to life, her fingers bleeding from the rough bark. Lightning split the sky, illuminating the chaos for a heartbeat, the woman in the river, the broken tree, the roaring flood. And somewhere, beyond sight, the king of the savannah began to run. A deep rumble rose in his chest. Not a roar, not yet, but the sound of decision. Tao turned. With a powerful leap, he descended from the ridge and began to run. His paws pounded against soaked earth, spraying mud behind him. The wind tore at his mane, but he didn't stop. Through thorn bushes, over slick rocks, he moved with a purpose that defied logic. The storm was relentless, but so was he. Ahead, through the blur of rain, he spotted movement, a glint of metal, a smell of fuel. A vehicle. 2 men inside. Rangers. Tao slowed, muscles tense, and emerged from the brush with a sudden, commanding presence. The rangers froze. One reached for his rifle. The other whispered, "Don't move." Tao roared, a sound that shook the air, echoing across the valley. Not a warning. A call. Then he turned sharply toward the river, glancing back once, eyes burning with urgency. He circled their vehicle, growling, pacing, looking toward the flood again. The rangers exchanged bewildered looks. And in that brief moment of hesitation, Tao roared again, louder, desperate, then bounded toward the river, glancing back as if demanding they follow. For the first time in their lives, the men obeyed a lion. Then Tao turned and sprinted toward the river, pausing only once to look back, the message clear as day, "Follow me." The older ranger hesitated. "If we're wrong about this, then we lose a chance to be right," the other cut in. Engines roared to life. The tires spun through the mud, chasing the lion's shadow. Tao ran ahead, leaping over fallen branches, veering left and right as though guided by something unseen. The rangers followed, headlights slicing through the rain, tires skidding dangerously close to the edge. Minutes blurred. The storm grew louder. Then Tao stopped, suddenly, violently, at the top of a muddy slope. Below, in the raging current, the woman clung to a half-submerged tree, her strength fading. "Dear God," one ranger breathed. Without a second's thought, they leapt into action, ropes, life vests, shouts drowned by the storm. Tao watched from the ridge, chest heaving, his golden eyes reflecting lightning. He had done his part. As the rangers waded into the flood, Tao lifted his head to the storm and released one final roar, not of fury, but of triumph. Then, like a ghost of the savannah, he turned and disappeared into the rain. The water was ice-cold and vicious. Each step felt like wading into a beast's throat. The current tore at Joseph's legs, nearly dragging him under, but he pushed forward, shouting against the storm. "Hold on, Mama. We're here." The old woman lifted her head weakly. Her lips moved, whispering something lost in the rain. From the ridge above, Tao watched, motionless, regal, his mane slick with water. Lightning flashed behind him, casting his silhouette like that of a guardian spirit. When Joseph finally reached the woman and wrapped his arm around her, Anna pulled with all her strength. The rope tightened. The river screamed. And above it all, the lion roared once more, a sound of victory. The king had led them to life. Anna plunged into the freezing current, the rope biting into her palms as she fought her way toward Joseph and the drowning woman. The water surged around her waist, tugging with merciless force, but she pressed on, teeth clenched, heart pounding. "Hold her steady," Joseph shouted over the roar of the river. Mama Zawadi's strength was nearly gone. Her fingers slipped once, twice, before Anna reached her and wrapped the rope around them both. The current screamed in defiance as Joseph hauled with everything he had, muscles straining, boots sinking into the mud. Inch by inch, they moved toward the shore, a desperate tug-of-war between life and the river's fury. "Come on! Come on!" Anna gasped, water lashing her face. With one final pull, they broke free. The three collapsed onto the muddy bank, gasping, drenched, trembling. For a moment, no one spoke. Only the sound of rain and the dying echo of thunder filled the valley. Mama Zawadi coughed violently, river water spilling from her lungs. Her chest rose and fell in shallow breaths, her eyes fluttering open. "Asante," she whispered, her voice fragile as smoke. "Thank you." Joseph pressed a hand to her shoulder. "You're safe now, Mama. You're safe." But before Anna could respond, Mama Zawadi's trembling hand lifted, pointing weakly toward the ridge. They followed her gaze. There, against the bruised sky and sheets of rain, sat the lion, Tao. His mane shimmered gold beneath a sudden break in the clouds. He watched them in silence, still and majestic, every line of his body alive with quiet power. Their eyes met across the distance, man, woman, beast, bound by something deeper than fear or instinct. For a long, suspended moment, the world was still. Then Tao blinked once, slowly, and rose. With the grace of a ruler satisfied with his work, he turned and walked into the tall, waving grass. The wind swallowed his silhouette, leaving only the whisper of rain and the echo of his legend. Anna exhaled shakily. Did that really just happen? Joseph looked toward the ridge, voice low with reverence. Some miracles, he said, don't need explaining. And as the storm broke into light, the king was gone, but his mercy lingered in the hearts of those who had witnessed it.